Welcome to the next round of the YouTuber Draft Championship. My opponent here this week is Casual Coops. Casual Coops is not only a YouTuber, but he's also part of the Incensed podcast group. So if you want to check him out, link to his channel in the description, and then also link to his podcast link tree in the description as well, so you can check him out. If you're not too familiar with this tournament, it's between me and a bunch of other YouTubers. You can check out the hype video in the description as well, so you can get learned up on who's all in this fight, right? And it's a draft tournament, so all of us have unique Pokemon to each other. We actually pick 8 unique Pokemon, and the battles are best of 5. But we have to play out all 5 fights because resistance matters for like the final matches and stuff for the golden crown, right? And because I'm a little bit behind here, I kind of need all the wins I can get in order to face Jonkus and exact my revenge for him picking a Pokemon that longtime watchers of Swag Tips may notice is missing from my team of 8. At any rate, let's get into the battles between me and Casual Coops. So the team I'm picking for the first round here is leading with Deoxys Defense Form with Talonflame in the back. Main goal being to try to bait a shield with my Psycho Boosts, and then once I have shield advantage, try to sweep him out with the Talonflame. So here I have a favorable lead matchup against the Poliwrath. I don't want to throw my Psycho Boosts too early with a Poliwrath being this healthy, because, it reduces my attack stat. He's going to shield it anyways, right? So I'm going for the Thunderbolts there. He swaps to the Mawile, and it's a purified Mawile. So I want to get some chip damage on there, or maybe a shield. So I throw a charge move on it. Basically, I don't want this thing reaching a return, should it have a return, because if I get put in a position where I'm like down shields or even shields, for the end game there, or for like the late game, I don't want my Talonflame like taking more damage than it needs to earlier than I want it to in this fight, especially given that he's got Poliwrath waiting for me, preloaded with energy, right? So I go for the Brave Bird right away, knowing that he's got 2 shields, thinking that he's going to think that I'm going to try to ramp up, so I was hoping to just kind of like surprise slap him there. He shields it, so I reach the next Brave Bird to either deal mass damage or get that final shield, and I do get the final shield there. Thinking that like he's got Ice Punch already been revealed, and knowing that an Ice Punch will just take me out and he's probably going to reach it sooner than I can reach that final Brave Bird, I decided to just let it go, and I go for the Deoxys Defense Form. Getting one little extra bit of energy above that to maybe help me out later on in the game. I throw a Psycho Boost, hit him with it, bring in Skuntank, and I think Skuntank can just take on just about everything his team has to offer when he's up a shield in the 1-0 shield situation, specifically. So I'm pretty in control here for the end game. 2 crunches should close this fight out against Skarmory. Yeah, Shadow Skuntank. It's back in rotation for the rockets, right? I think it's only on the dark type rockets. So keep your eyes peeled for those ones. Wallower also uses Shadow Skuntank quite a bit too. So if you didn't hear it from me, you also heard it from him. Shadow Skunktank's pretty good. But yeah, that closes out the first battle. So for our second fight here, I figured, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I go in with the same team again, right? And we're up against the same lead again. So hey, called it right. He swaps to the Skarmory right away, and I go for the Thunderbolt. I throw the Thunderbolt, and from here I'm basically like staying in because I don't want to, get put behind in shields. Even if he throws like a Brave Bird and I shield it on my Talonflame and I can fast move it down, because I'm down a shield, that still puts me in a vulnerable position against the Poliwrath there. So yeah, and then there I tried to throw the Psycho Boost a little bit sooner, but I kind of hecked that up. So I got put down a shield and I threw a Psycho Boost on top of it anyways. So I'm really not in a favorable position here, despite having, beaten the Skarmory there. Because, lining up Skarmory against Talonflame would have been a good thing. It's just an awkward, tricky thing for me to deal with that definitely works in Casual Coop's favor there. And then he throws in the Poliwrath. Poliwrath gets me with the Scald, puts me in the red, survives on top of it. So that's not that's not great. Poliwrath is still at large. He's got 2 shields, and I got a Talonflame. So overall, just a pretty awkward situation for me to deal with here. So I send in Talonflame here to get what farm damage I can in on the guy. I can't remember if I shield here or not. Basically, in my mind, I have to just throw a bunch of Brave Birds at Poliwrath and hope for the best. So Poliwrath comes back in. I go for the Flame Charge because just getting chip damage in general at this point is going to be important. Like, if he doesn't spend a shield, that could be a good thing for me. he does shield it up, and then I opt to swap out my Talonflame, knowing that the Psycho Boost can also get a shield, and then I'd be close to the next Brave Bird, so I could more reasonably close out the fight with Brave Bird here in the end. So he goes for the Scald, and I'm put in an awkward spot where I could maybe get farmed down. I reach the Psycho Boost, but he reaches the Ice Punch, taking me out. But at this point, he should be energy dry, so I just go for the one Incinerate for the Brave Bird, closing out the fight. Yeah, against this team in general, we're looking at 3 Grass-type Pokemon, 2 Steel types, 2 Fighting types, and Zapdos, who doesn't really appreciate taking a lot of chip damage. So Talonflame, for the most part, is pretty free against this team. In a draft tournament, it is pretty difficult to like prepare for every weird thing that you could come across, but this is also something to keep in mind when it comes to like the Play Pokemon Championships, and why a lot of the top teams in the Play Pokemon Championships kind of look like a bunch of safe swaps, because you don't want to get put in a position where like your opponent can just bring Talonflame every single time. But in a draft tournament like this, it's really hard to like account for every single pick, a whole bunch of opponents could have. So yeah. And in a sense, having Talonflame be like my shoe-in to win, or like a pick that I can pick freely in every single fight, can work against me a little bit too, because my opponent, knowing that if they can put me in a shield disadvantage, they are able to play around the Talonflame. And then because Talonflame is going to be more effective in the back, they could use the fact that Talonflame's in the back all the time to their advantage as well. So while it's nice being in that dominant position, it gives your opponent a little bit more to work with against you at the same time too. So just some thoughts on that. So yeah, I let the Skuntank go. I'm still up shields, so I'm in that dominant position for Talonflame in the end game here. I'm up against Zapdos. Zapdos reaches the freaking Drill Peck. This thing is so fast, and I'm glad that it took until round 3 for Casual Coops to bring it, because I think overall Zapdos is probably like the biggest thorn in my side when it comes to this particular lineup. But yeah, I land the Psycho Boost there. I bring in the Talonflame, and then recognizing that he can't really get past it, he submits there. Now going into round 4, now that he's gotten a taste for the Zapdos, I have to start employing some heavier anti-Zapdos maneuvers. So I decided to go with the Granbull in the lead. I wasn't sure if he was still going to go with like a Poliwrath lead, or maybe like a Grass type lead or something like that to anticipate me maybe going for the Steelix. So I felt that Granbull would be a solid neutral option in case I met something other than Zapdos. Fortunately, it was Zapdos that I met in the lead position there. So because Zapdos can't really, and it's a Shadow Zapdos, because Shadow Zapdos can't really tolerate heavy fast move damage from a Charmer, he swapped out right away to his Skarmory there, so I responded right away with Talonflame. And while it's not great to get stuck against my Talonflame there, it does force me to like reveal my Talonflame earlier on in the fight, which in turn allows Poliwrath to come out and take care of the Talonflame, which could put them in a better position in the end game. But ultimately, overall, I got Granbull. We still have even shields, but at the end of the day, it's Granbull, right? So unless this thing can reach 2 Drill Pecks, I think Casual Coops here is in a pretty dire position. So I shield up against the Drill Peck because it's a Shadow Drill Peck. These things are crazy strong, and he reaches the second Drill Peck. Now, I am down a shield here. It is a Deoxys defense form against a Poliwrath, but this isn't the greatest situation ever, because the moment I throw a Psycho Boost, I go down to attack stages, and he's got Scald, and Scald could debuff me another attack stage, which happens here. So now I'm in a position where like maybe my Psycho Boost won't do enough damage, especially if he shields the first one, and he doesn't shield the first one, and I do take him out with the counter damage there, securing the fight. Then we come into the final round, and I'm like, that was really close for the most part. Like, so I'm bringing Steelix. Like, you lead Zapdos, congratulations, it's a Steelix. And he has a Venusaur. So Venusaur is a bit rough here, because I don't want to swap the Talonflame, because then he's probably going to have Poliwrath in the back, which isn't fantastic for Talonflame there. So I have to bring in Deoxys Defense Form. But Deoxys Defense Form, especially being, Thunderbolt Deoxys Defense Form into a Venusaur, isn't fantastic either, because now I'm swap locked in, and he caught the Psycho Boost. on top of that. So like things could be any worse for me here, right? So yeah, dangers of using Deoxys Defense Form as your save swap. You could get put in this position. Fortunately, I do have Steelix, so getting caught by Skarmory in this position isn't so bad because it can throw whatever it wants. It can throw Brave Birds at me, and this guy takes it like a champ and just farms it down with Dragon Tail, which is even more terrifying because like it takes it out slowly, so you get even more energy. He brings in Toxicroak, and I just go straight for the Earthquake, recognizing that if I KO him right out, and that puts me in a good position. And if he, throws a shield, well, then I got Talonflame in the back, which puts me in another favorable position. And here he submits to his fate to the Talonflame. Talonflame Talonflame OP. So those are my battles against Casual Coops. If you want to check out Casual Coops, link in the description to his YouTube channel and to his podcast group there. Yeah, as far as YouTube championship thing is concerned here, I got one more opponent before we go to the semifinals. Who could it be? Well, if you've been paying attention to our pods and stuff, it's none other than Shadow Z. So I'll have to brave that storm next week. I'll see you guys then. I'd also like to give a special shout out to these Patreon supporters. If you want to support Swagman on Patreon, link in the description.